When I look back now, what I really loved about it was the people that I got to meet.
Do you still struggle with taking work holiday? Me too.
I was told that I would never have children. It was pretty horrific. It was pretty horrendous times. But the outside world didn't know about it. You have to put on your brave face and you have to show up.
Building family, building business, building a house. The world is very judgy at the best of times.
I've always gone out thinking about how I can help people. Don't overthink so much, just have a crack.
We're all perfectly imperfect.
I've been through a lot of shit in 35 years. Look out to the next 35 and I can't wait to see what I can do then.
Hello everyone, my name's Graham Strang and I hope my younger self is listening. We're on to episode 12. Our guest is Mikaela Smith, business owner, event creator, community connector, a proud mum of 3. From real estate and diesel fitting to building Social Me and now running multiple businesses, Mikaela's journey is all about grit, heart, choosing to show up no matter how hard it gets. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I'm really honoured.
Do you want to get into it?
Yeah.
Well, let's go. Look, you know, you've been around Toowoomba your whole life. You're based at a well camp now. Have you ever had the urge not to wanting to be in Toowoomba?
Definitely back in my younger days, as a teen, I suppose, I always thought that I might venture out somewhere else. I loved the Gold Coast, I still do, and the Sunshine Coast, but now I'm very happy here and I can't see myself going anywhere anytime soon.
So now always being, you will be regarded as a Toowoomba local because you've never left, so you're in a very, very secluded box there. What's made Toowoomba the place for you to stay?
I guess growing up with my family, always being here, and a lot of us are still all here, so that's definitely part of it. I love having my family around me, and I think it's just a great community to be a part of. It's all I've ever known, really, so I feel safe here. I really enjoy living here.
I have to agree. It's one of the things I've come back to Toowoomba twice, and then I just think it's there's no place I really want to be but here. You have a Scottish heritage.
Yes, so Mum and her 2 sisters and her parents came over from Scotland to Australia when Mum was 4, and I think they didn't have anyone else around them, so they've always been really close, and they still are. We all still are today. So as Mum and her sisters got older and they got married and they had children, my cousins, and, you know, we have great memories growing up together, and, you know, we still do get together now, and yeah, I love those memories.
My family's Scottish. Both my brother and my sister are bagpipers. What made them come to Australia?
Partly for Mum's sister's health. Yep. She had really bad asthma, and I think just for opportunity. And Australia was sort of the place to be for work opportunities, and yeah, just the amazing living.
Did any of them have influence on you going into small business, or was that something that came from you? Or
yeah, so Mum and Dad have always had a really strong work ethic. They've worked for other people and they've worked for themselves in business as well. So yeah, I've seen that growing up my whole life. That's all I've ever sort of known. And yeah, they've always been a part of P&C committees and outside of school and sporting communities, and you know, Dad was always coaching the cricket teams, and we all played soccer, so he was coaching them, and yeah, again, that's all I've ever known.
A bit the same. I was educated on profit and loss and gross profit and net profit from a very early age. So what was your first foray into working for yourself?
Well, I started out in a gap year after school. I didn't know what I wanted to do really, but I landed a job in a real estate office in reception and admin, and I fell in love with it. And then I went on into sales, and so on and off for 16 years in real estate. And I think when I look back now, what I really loved about it was the people that I got to meet and hearing their stories. You know, there was people buying their first house and, you know, like going through divorce or upsizing, downsizing, all those things. And I just loved being a part of their journey and hearing their stories, really. So, yeah.
So Smith Diesel Fitting, Jason, who I can't remember which of you I met first. Pretty sure it was Jason. I'm pretty sure just doing uniforms and things. When did Smith's Diesel Fitting hit the ground?
Yeah, so Smith Diesel Fitting started after we had our firstborn Hudson. So Jason used to work out on the rigs, so he was doing the 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. And that lifestyle just didn't really work for him anymore, didn't really fit. He wanted to be home with us. And so that's how Smith Diesel Fitting started.
And what year did they kick off?
2013, that was.
12 years?
Yeah.
And you haven't killed each other yet?
No, not yet.
Look, working with your partner in business is a challenge upon itself. Like I know working with Teal, we have some days. Have you ever struggled with the taking work home?
Definitely, all the time.
Do you still struggle with taking work home?
All the time.
Me too. So you've grown. So it started out with just you and Jason. Have you grown that into a bigger setup now?
Yeah, so we have 6 employees now. So we're very proud of how far we've come and what we've achieved. It definitely hasn't been easy, but yeah, it's growing and it's continuing to grow. So we're very fortunate, but we've worked really hard to get to that point as well.
Have you had much influence from either of your families helping you get yourselves going, get started? Was there someone who did mentoring for you in that?
Yeah, so probably the biggest support and mentor, I mean, all our families and friends are amazing support, but probably the biggest support, and I think it's crucial to have that in personal and business, but that would be my brother, Jason. So he's my voice of reason, and I definitely call him with anything that's going on and have a chat. And yeah, he's always there for both my husband, Jason, and myself, and our 3 boys.
So what made him become that influence for you?
I think growing up, I probably, always went to him for advice as well. He's the older brother, so, only natural that he was probably my protector and looked out for me then, and I guess he still does now. And, yeah, he's just very level-headed, very easygoing, but he gets me, and, yeah, I feel really safe with him, and I can talk to him about anything and everything.
Yeah, look, I talk to my brother and sister about lots of things, and I'm the oldest one. We seem to be able to really good at bouncing it off each other. It's amazing when you've got that contact about how you can just go, look, this is the issue or this is the stress, and how right they are all the time when they come back with a couple of sentence response. So you've just talked about Smith Diesel Fitting, getting started with that. You have a number of other little businesses that you have been building or are starting to build. I know one is Social Me. I can't remember the name of the other one. You're going to have to correct me.
Your events group.
Yep. Can you give us a bit of background in those?
Your Social Me started after seeing a lot of posts on socials, actually, and mainly women asking how and where to make friends. So I thought I would start it up and see how it all went. And we just get together for casual catch-ups and different events. And it's actually, become more than I ever could have imagined. So it'll be going 2 years next month.
Yeah.
And now I get the messages and photos of the women who, are out having lunch together or coffee together. And they'll, say, thanks, we've gone out and done this, and they've connected at a Social Me event, and now they're going out and, make friends and doing that on their own.
It's amazing when that networking, how important it is, whether it's socially, work, and how, I've talked about in a number of the different podcasts about how hard it is to find those connections, and not all the connections work. What have you found has been the key to helping them make those connections?
So I guess, we go through different phases in life, whether it be people moving here from somewhere else, or, you go through the having children and meeting school people, and then, they grow up. And so there's all different sort of phases of life, and ladies will come along and they're just looking for, that support and the friendship. So I think, getting together and meeting people that you do want to hang around. And I suppose as you get older, time's precious, and you want to spend it with people who are supportive and who you get along with.
Oh, and that's hard, especially when you are getting older. Your friend circle seems to shrink a little bit too, because everyone's, got less time. But, I find your friend circle as you age changes because people are doing different things and they move in and out. I just think it's wonderful that you've got something that is bringing women together so that they can in non-judgmental areas, but also work and social. It's a wonderful thing. So when we're putting the notes of the show together, one of the things you noted to me was some of the personal curveballs and challenges you've had in the midst of building a business, relationship, marriage, everything. Some of the stuff we've talked about is you're building a business with a newborn, infertility struggles. As comfortable as you want to be, you want to expand in and around how all that worked?
Yeah, sure. So a little backstory on me, I guess, to help with that. I was told that I would never have children because I have polycystic ovarian syndrome and endometriosis. And I'm very happy to share about, everything and anything within reason, obviously. But I think, I fell pregnant before I fell pregnant with Hudson. And obviously there was shock in that because I didn't think that I could. And then went on to miscarriage, unfortunately. But then fell pregnant with Hudson. So thought, amazing he was great, a miracle. And then we continued on with business and juggling Hudson and, growing the business and everything. And then during the next, little while, we wanted to give Hudson a sibling. So we continued trying, and unfortunately for the next 4 or 5 years, I had another 4 miscarriages. And juggling that with business and obviously trying to enjoy Hudson was pretty horrific. It was pretty horrendous times.
The emotional toll, I'm assuming, would have been off the charts.
Yeah.
Did you have any real low moments in there that you'd be comfortable talking about?
Yeah, I think looking back, because Jason and I both were in the business and we were both going through that, we obviously, our close friends and family knew about it, but the outside world didn't know about it. And, that was really hard because you have to put on your brave face and you have to show up and you have to keep working. We had bills to pay and medical bills with that too. There was lots of surgeries involved as well. It was really, really tough. So, but you keep on keeping on.
Did the business suffer much in and all, do you think?
Probably little bits, but not so much. I think we're both very good at, putting on that front and realising, what we have to do and getting through it together.
The Smile and Wave boys, the 3 penguins, it's such a wonderful analogy for hiding everything that's here. We say it all the time. But the toll, and that's where I'm trying to get my head around it, because the scale of it is phenomenal. Because you were building so much, building family, building business, building a house.
Yeah.
That brings many couples undone, let alone the rest on top of it. Did you have a thought process on what kept you going, what kept you going forward?
We probably the support of each other. we just, we had to get through it. We were both going through it, so we supported one another, and we had our family and friends around us too who were amazing support. But yeah, we are very supportive of each other, and we work as a team, business and personal, and I think that's probably what kept us going.
Did you have a point in the middle of all that there, like obviously the miscarriages, the surgeries, the stress that you're like, I can't, maybe Hudson's it, I can't go any further?
Yeah, definitely. We were very fortunate that we had Hudson. We're very grateful. I think there was a lot of guilt on my part, thinking my body's not working, why is it not working, even though we'd had Hudson. But it was more of I want to give him a sibling, and, I want to be able to do this. And I felt I'd failed as a wife and as a mother, and not being able to do those things that, you should be able to do.
I'm sitting here struggling to process it, and you probably fast forward to now. Are you amazed at yourself that you were able to get through all that? And looking back now, mum of three, what you've built, and looking at that period of your life and just going, how did I do it? Yeah.
And I think to a certain extent, maybe we block things, out of our memory. There's lots of things that I remember, obviously, but there's probably certain things that I've blocked. But to go on and after 6 years after we had Hudson, we fell pregnant with Henry after meeting a wonderful doctor who was so helpful and supportive and alternate, and gave us Henry. So we're just over the moon. But after having Henry, I had another miscarriage. So it was hard again, but we definitely wanted to try again. So then we had Hugo. We fell pregnant with Hugo. So 3 boys, and I think we went through a lot, but coming out the other side, we have the 3 boys, and I'm very grateful.
It links back to all of the things that I really believe in, is that you never really know what's going on that side of the wall. Everyone's got a really good front, and the world is very judgy at the best of times. You've talked about you and Jason, you'll work together, your team work together. I'm assuming the love and the kindness to each other, because they wouldn't have been easy on each other, let alone as a partnership, to go forward with it. How old are all the boys now?
So Hudson is 12, Henry is 6, and Hugo's 4.
So how do you build in your family time now, knowing everything you've been through? How do you make sure you make all that count?
We love to go on holidays, and being, business owners, it's a time where we can switch off and spend that quality time with the boys. So we always look forward to our holidays, and we love planning different holidays. And just recently we went away actually on a long weekend with some friends. We have really supportive and amazing friends around us, and, we're very grateful for that too. But we went away for the weekend. We had no reception, and we sat around the fire and we were chatting with the other families, and the kids were playing cards. So it was just really nice to have that time out, and that we could switch off. And
nothing going ding in the background.
Yeah.
My father has this thing when they used to go on holidays, when we were running the pub for them. Dad used to say, if it's burning down, don't call me. If you can't save it, don't call me. Because there's nothing you can do because you're not there.
Yeah.
The mental health side of everything that we've been talking about, you talk about your support network. Would you say that the people around you is what got you through all this?
Definitely, yes. I think it's very important.
Because you talked about the 2 Jasons, which that never gets confusing, I'm sure. Did you have any other major influences around you helping you keep the balls in the air?
Definitely our friends, family support, but I would have to say that, like, each other. We live together, we work together, we're raising a family together, and you have to have work at it all the time. We're always working at it, and you've got to find your balance, and I think that's something we're still trying to find.
I'm with you. With 15 years with this place, and they sitting there on Sunday morning doing orders going, should possibly be doing something else. But the world doesn't wait, does it?
No.
So we've covered a bit of the community, the networking and the connection side, talking about social me, but we do need to talk about launching your events group and the pop-up picnics Toowoomba. Do you want to expand on what sent you down the path of those and what they're meaning to you on top of social me?
I've always loved doing the events with social me and personal events as well. And then I had an opportunity to come up to do some corporate events. So did that through Your Events Group. So Your Events Group does focus on a lot of the corporate events and workshops, which is going great. And just recently purchased pop-up picnics and events Toowoomba. So I'm really excited to see where that takes me this year.
I wouldn't have expected that was something you were going to buy. So what was your motivation to jump it down that path?
I love all the styling of events, and that obviously comes with the picnics. But again, I think it's just the people who I get to meet and what they're doing. But there's baby showers, there's birthday parties, all that. So I love being part of that, and meeting those people, hearing their stories, and creating beautiful memories and events for them.
Everything I'm hearing, there's a lot of community. Hopefully we get that on camera, someone having a beep at us on the way past. The community matters to you so much, but there's also that community networking. Probably in all the businesses it applies. Networking in business. What have you learnt in that space to really make it work for you?
With networking, I've always gone out thinking about how I can help people, how I can, help and contribute to their business and or them. But I've probably learned that it's who I've met and how they have helped and contributed to the success of our businesses. So that's what I see now, and I think it's wonderful networking for business.
I think we're very blessed in Toowoomba, the networking scene. Jody and I were talking about it every day of the week. You can go to something if you want to.
Yeah.
If you were sitting with someone who's just going into networking and not sure what to do, what advice would you give them?
Just go. Just go and chat to someone that you don't know. Ask questions.
Get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because that was the beginning of networking, and that's really what it is. You have to get into that uncomfortable space of going up to a complete stranger and going, hello. We're talking about Mrs. Wagner passing away. She was my foray in 15 years ago. I remember her dragging me to tables and sitting me going, this is Graham. She was such a lovely lady. I took a lot of networking notes from her because she just made sure she knew everyone in the room. Far better at it than me, and probably still was it even right to the end. So we're on to a section now going, what do you wish you knew earlier? If you got to sit with your younger self, probably about 18 to 20, and you had to give yourself some advice, and you hope you'd listen, what would it be?
Not to overthink everything so much. I still overthink everything now, I feel, but just, don't overthink so much. Just have a crack. Just go and do it.
Do people's opinions get under your skin much?
Not so much now, but definitely when I was younger, yes. It was a big worry what everyone would think of nearly everything, but probably more so when I was younger. And a lot of friends, when we talk about it, they definitely cared a lot more back when we were younger.
When we were younger and trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
And then realising that we're all perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
Leading from what you wish you knew earlier, I have a bit of a hard way section. You've got a comment in here where you talked about some of the things you learned around the hard way was people pleasing, over-committing and trying to work out how to let go of control. Can you expand on?
Yes, I'm definitely a people pleaser. So obviously get a lot of enjoyment out of helping people and pleasing people.
Which would tie back to social need and
Yeah. But I think there have been times where I've definitely overcommitted, and I am the type of person, I have to experience it for myself. I have to learn the hard way. You can't tell me, not to do something, or, you could give me all the warnings, but I will still go and do it. And I have to learn for myself.
Did you ever suffer a burnout?
Yeah.
What happened?
I didn't want to be around anyone. I didn't want to be around my family. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to see anyone. I wanted to be in my own little space and bubble.
Was there a particular thing that set you off, or that all of a sudden you realised you knew you'd gone too far?
I think it was when finally, after I decided to have a holiday, to have a break and not take on anything more after, really hectic times. And I realized that, this is what it's like to just stop and then, spend some time with the boys. And I think I felt guilty. I felt guilty that I hadn't been present enough. But yeah.
Look, that's one of the toughest things you can ask any parent, the fine line between making sure you're providing everything and also being a good parent. I always joke that I think half those parenting books are rubbish, because there's the balance for each kid is totally different.
Yes.
And what they need and what they want. What's your biggest hard way lesson that you've learnt?
Probably my control. I do like to be in control
Of everything?
of everything, but I have figured out finally that there's so many things in business and personal life that you just can't control, but I have been able to control how I deal with them, and that's a big lesson for me.
Control is a funny thing. I've been through it here too. I got myself a panic attack pre-COVID, and I ended up in base hospital in pediatrics, drinking the pink stuff. It's delicious. I remember watching Toy Story on the roof. That was my realization around having to. You've got to delegate. It taught me the 80-20 rule. If I can get it done 80% how I want it done every time, that's a pretty good result. And I still suffer from it. I got myself in trouble today because I did something because I had to do it, and my daughter got the grumblies with me because she had to go and clean it up. And then that's where I find the control is hard, because your brain blocks you and says, I can do that better than everyone else. I must do it.
Yes.
And just stopping yourself.
Yes.
So the next bit we have is the book of questions. So there's a question in here that I haven't even seen it yet. And you get to open and read, and you get to read it out loud for our audience.
Okay.
And you get to answer it.
This one?
Yep, and that was from Sam. If you're from around here, chances are you've worn something that we've embroidered, printed, pressed, or branded. Whatever it is, we just get it done. So if you need something, drop in and see us.
So I read it out.
Yep.
It says, who are you in 10 years?
That's a good one.
It is a good one. I'll have to think, who am I in 10 years? I would hope that I'm just a better version of what I am now, with more experience.
That's the safe answer.
It definitely is a safe answer.
Well, you think about it. So you said your eldest is 12. That means he's 22.
Yes.
And he could be at uni. He could be working in the family business. He could be doing anything. And I'm going through that stage with my kids. Just trying to work out what the next step looks like.
Yeah. It's probably a bit scary for me to think about it, really. But it'll be, exciting to see what I can do in the next 10 years.
Oh, look, Teal and I joke all the time that if I look back 10 years from where I was now, I wouldn't believe that we've done everything we've done here.
Yeah.
So it's lots of fun. You get to actually write your question in now.
Okay.
And you got to put your name at the top.
All right.
Write it in. Will be for the poor next person. So what's coming up for Smith Diesel Fitting, for pop-up picnic, for Social Me, and
Your events group.
your events group? See, got there. So your events calendar is very full.
Yes. Well, I do love events. I love attending events and I love organising events. For Smith's Diesel Fitting, we are just continuing with the really positive culture that we have right now. We have some really great employees, and we try to keep them happy. We go and buy smoko and, you know, do all the things. Always trying to upskill with that. I mean, everything's, you know, you've got to keep up with all everything's evolving. I guess you've got to keep up with it all.
Changes are only constant.
Yeah, exactly. And for Social Me, we have a paint and sip coming up next month, which will be a lot of fun. And your events group, just a few more workshops for businesses. So that's always fun and exciting to organise. And yeah, pop-up picnics. There's already bookings. There's more collaborations at the end of the year. I'm really excited to see where that takes me.
So everything we've talked about tonight and everything coming along, even the question in the book, you look at you reflect on everything you've done. It's quite a bit.
Yes. Well, that's thanks to you for asking me here tonight, Graham. Thank you. When you first asked me, I just thought, what on earth would I have to say? But after thinking about it and, you know, reading through the questions, I've been through a lot of shit in 35 years.
Finally, you swore. Thank God.
But I've also achieved a lot in 35 years. And so, yeah, look out to the next 35. And I can't wait to see what I can do then.
And, you know, it's look, you know, one of the things that my wife said to me is that she wants to see more women in business, and she wants to, you know, that's why she loves seeing me interview. That's why you're top of my list. So I went and I just said, "Do you want to come on?" Because you look at the story we've talked about tonight. I guarantee you 90% of the people I know wouldn't have a clue about most of that. And that's where I go back to that wall, you know, and it's not about the people treating you any differently. It's just an awareness that we all have shit, to quote it, because we do, you know, and that's what I love about interviewing and talking to everyone. Like Simon, the musician that we did, he was breaking the third wall. He came from Ripple to talk to, and I didn't know how that was going to go. And his story was phenomenal, and you know, that's what I'm loving about this, you know, and just try and work in people's schedules. That's the best trick. Mate, this has been fantastic. You know, your work in our local community doesn't go unseen. I admire all the places you get to, whether it's in your business or whether it's even socially trying to help people. And, you know, the resilience to keep going, you know, that's what I love about it. I mean, and you're being as crazy as us and finding new ventures to put your hands in. Look, everyone, if you want to tune in to all Mikaela's ventures, we're going to put the list of links on the screen because I'm going to forget them all. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's all right. Been a pleasure.
Thanks.
If you're looking for The Hard Way, come look for us on YouTube, Apple or Spotify. Thank you very much for tuning in, and that's a wrap.